Okay, I think we are live and you can hear me. Okay, let me just tell the Discord crew that I'm online and live. And you know what? I think it's a little dark right now. Let me increase the lighting a little bit. And of course, let's get a little bit of music going. I've abandoned my synthwave music. I'm just doing now my traditional generic jazz. Where is my music? Let's see. There we go. Oh, that's a synthwave. There we go. Okay. And let me turn down. I think that's about right. If that's too loud, let me know. And let me fix the lighting. It's just looking a little dark in here. I hope everyone had a great New Year's Eve. I certainly did. Let's see. Let's try making this a little. Yeah, I think that looks really good. I think that's really good. Okay. There's a little tuft of hair sticking out here. Okay. And I decided to celebrate the new year by having a glass of wine. So I'll be drinking a little bit of wine today. Okay, I actually don't know what kind of wine this is. I think it's just some random red blend. I just hadn't had wine in a while, so I thought I'd try some. So I picked some up today. But my favorite though is what is it called? Syrah. Syrah. There's one from Australia called Molly Duker is the brand, and the specific name of the wine is Blue Eyed Boy. Really excellent stuff. I rarely have it, but that is my favorite. I always described it as getting hit like slapped with a bunch of berries and tobacco. It's not sweet. It's not a dessert wine, but it's just so fruit forward, as they say, and it just hits you. Now, if you're not into fruit forward, that's not going to be the wine you want, or a fruit bomb, I think some people call it. But for me, especially with spicy food, it really draws out the sweetness and the body. I love it. I love it. But again, very rare. I don't think I've had some in well over a year. That's my favorite one. Okay, let's see. Let me just double check to make sure we got everything cleaned up here and get my show notes going. It's been such a great 2025, and I just thought we would do this session to help look back and think about the past and think a little bit about what's happening for us. So we'll see. Let me double check that you're seeing me. Sometimes it's hard to know what you're seeing because I have a complicated setup. Where am I looking here? Stream. I want my show notes. There we go. I have my show notes now. And everything is set up. Okay. Let's take a look at what we have here. I'll give it a few minutes. Let's let people find the stream. I'm not expecting a big audience or anything today. But, because people are probably just relaxing or recovering from last night. I had a very quiet night. I'm long past the time of celebrating with some sort of big party. I just stayed home and watched movies. So what did I watch? I watched two of my favorite movies. One was, this was an early 80s film with the former governor of California called Conan the Barbarian, which is one of my favorite movies. What was the other movie I watched? Oh yeah, The Caine Mutiny. That's actually, when was that? It's in color. I want to say it's in the 50s or 60s. The Caine Mutiny. Let's take a look at that one. It's a 1951 novel. 1954 film. Yeah, I love it. I love it. With Humphrey Bogart, just an amazing role, and Jose Ferrer, also an amazing role. Great stuff. Fred McMurray in a very interesting role. Now, I have to tell you, technically I'm not of the age to be this, but in essence, I have the cultural background of a boomer. So my mental orientation around what I'm familiar with is a couple of decades before I was born. Or it's not that I'm not familiar with my own decades. It's that just the way I grew up in the United States with a lot of TV and movies, my mind is a bit earlier, okay? And I'm not, I'm not one of those people that might say, oh, the past, we should return to the past or something. But I just have memories or, associations with those things that are stronger than maybe lots of people who are my age, and certainly people who are younger. I'm trying to think of a great example. Actually, here's a great example. So if the name William F. Buckley means something to you, which is probably unlikely, to me it means something. I mean, it's even unlikely for people my age. But whether I'm a fan or not of his is not the issue. It's that I'm familiar with that character, right? Or that person, that's a person. One of the reasons I'm familiar with him is he has just a very idiosyncratic accent, which he's a Southern gentleman, but he sounds like he's for a lot of people, it can come off as British or European in some way. For me, it actually sounds that way as well, but sometimes when he's speaking, he's long since passed away, it can sound like a bit of a Southern, the Southern parts stick out to me, but it's not often that happens. Okay, so what did I want to do in this stream? And again, we're going to wait until a little bit before we get going on that, because I want to make sure we have people online, if there are going to be. What I want to talk about is what happened this year, 2025. 2025 actually, in terms of drawing tablets, I should say more broadly even in digital art, but certainly drawing tablets, really surprised me. Not even close to what I expected. There were some things that did not happen that I expected, which we'll talk about. And there are certainly things that did happen which really surprised me. So I want to share some of that. And this is a very interesting time for us. If you work with a drawing tablet, most of the time you're drawing. Not a surprise, right? But of course, some people, use them as a mouse replacement, or they use them for, other reasons like taking notes. But where I'm going here is that a lot of us are drawing with them in a digital art sense. Hey, Rain. Yeah, Rain, you're totally right there. That was the big surprise, was Wacom. That was actually the big success. So what we're going to do is first we're going to recount what was released this year. We'll talk about them, the tablets, apps, etc. Then we'll talk about what were the big changes, and that was one of them. Absolutely, the Wacom really threw us for a loop this year in lots of ways, actually. And I think there's things I really like about what they've done, and I think there's things I don't like about what they've done, and we're going to talk about that. But overall, I like what they did. There are things Huion did and didn't do that surprised me. So we'll talk about those things. XP Pen as well. And we'll talk about the industry. I think there's some other surprises coming in for us. 2026, I think, is going to be an amazing year. 2026, 2027, I think, has got to be 2 years of a lot of transition in technology that's going to affect people who are using drawing tablets. Absolutely. Now, while I'm saying that, let me bring up my show notes. There's actually a few comments. Yeah. So there's in the year in review, there's also like a big stories, right? So we're going to talk about big stories. One is Wacom. Uh, yeah, we're going to talk about AI too. We're definitely going to talk about AI. Salami, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. It's going to be a chill stream. We're just relaxing, just getting started. It's a slow start. I've got some kind of red wine with me today. It's a generic one from the supermarket. So we'll see. My celebrating days, my heavy duty celebrating days are over. That was a long time ago. Let's see. Okay. So what did we see released? Actually, let me double check the Discord to make sure. Yeah. Okay, so let's see if I can show you my screen here. Yeah. So what was released this year? And if I missed something, just let me know, okay? And we're gonna do predictions. And we'll check back in next year, or maybe we'll even do a 6-month check and see where are our predictions. A year is a long time to forecast. And actually, before I continue that, since we are talking about predictions, let me just say this. There was a quote, which is attributed to Bill Gates. I don't know if that is actually from him or not, but it was a good quote, which was, you tend to overestimate the change that you'll see, like in life, that's going to happen in 1 year, and so we overestimate. We think more change is going to happen than actually happens. But then you tend to underestimate the change that happens over 10 years. And I think this really is true. Roughly speaking, my career in tech began in the mid-90s, 1996 professionally, when I started at Microsoft. And so that's 30 years, that'll be 30 years in June, actually, exactly. The change is dramatic. It's unbelievable. When I think back about what it was like 30 years ago, or even 20, how primitive things were compared to now, it's unbelievable. So I want to say that, you have to be a little bit patient. And how this comes to relevance with our predictions is, I think I'm going to be right about some things, but I'm going to be right about them later. So in 10 years, I think I'm going to be right about some things early. And certainly I'm going to be wrong about those other things. Will I be reviewing the Huion Canvas Pro 27 1440 Hertz? Salami, I am not planning to do that. It's still a possibility that I'll do it one day, but I'm not planning on it. And roughly speaking, the reason I'm not planning on it is that, number one, lots of how good a tablet works is due to the pen. I have extensively reviewed the PW600 pen, so the pen's going to be good. Like, there's no doubt about that. Like, I've done the measurements, everything. And there's lots of experience in the field on that. The second reason is, I don't need it. Like, there's nothing, I just don't need it, right? If I need it, like, I'll certainly buy it. Third reason is, it doesn't really bring anything new to the picture. Like, I know it has a higher refresh rate, but I have now several pen displays with higher refresh rate. So I know how much it's going to give us. And it's going to not make that big a difference to me. I mean, honestly. Though some people will enjoy the higher refresh rate. And the fourth reason is, I can't remember the reasons now. I think maybe let's just say I covered them all. I might get it, but I'm not inclined to. Oh, sorry, I know the fourth reason. I think it will get adequate coverage by other reviewers. And by other reviewers, I'm specifically talking about, I assume Tio on Tech will review it. I assume Brad Cobo will review it. And basically, I think those reviews will suffice, right? Rain, are these months typically more quiet for new releases? I'm guessing maybe since the holidays are over, people are probably recovering financially. Well, generally speaking, I think that's true. I can at least speak from my perspective. When you release a product, I mean, this is my perspective from working at Microsoft, and we were releasing, in my case, software, not hardware. We wanted to target things, not in January was considered to be, and the holidays in general, a bad time to release something because people's attentions are just not on this stuff. They are vacationing, they are being with family, and they're just busy with life. What we tend to announce things around our own big events, and on top of that, I can't speak for the entire world, but I assume it's kind of true. At least in the United States, companies tend to. So companies just don't. I mean, they try not to just buy random stuff every year. They tend to budget things, and then there's a certain cycle at which they buy things. And that happens like in, I forgot when, let's just say it's June or July. So you want to, if you have a product you want them to buy, you want them to be able to budget for it. They do their budgeting in like whatever month, June or July. So you have to hit that date so that they can budget for it, and then they buy it. So you want it for businesses, you want to get early. As you get later in the year, it just gets more and more difficult to get people's attention. Now, I can't say this is true for every case or every kind of product. It may not even be true for consumer level software, hardware, but that's the way we did it. But generally, January is not considered a great time. It's also not a great time because marketing, you can't, this is what they tell me, it's harder to create attention to those things, right? Ranger Fade has joined us. Thank you, Ranger Fade, for joining us. Japan's fiscal year's Q1 is April. Mixi Gobbin, Huion usually drops some new stuff in CS. I'm hoping so. Listen, I would like nothing more than new stuff coming out every month. Trust me, that would be super exciting for me. So I want that. I just don't expect it. I am hoping. Trust me. I especially this year, I want to see some things. We'll talk more about what those things are. Winter release has been covered by MovingPad 14. Yes, the MovingPad Pro 14. I think well. We'll talk about it in a minute. It dominated the news, and from my perspective. Must take a lot of balls that Samsung does January to February release traditionally for their S series. Yeah, every company has their perspective on when to do a release. Like Apple has their cadence. Oh, one more thing I wanted to point out. Another thing about announcing stuff is, so companies have conferences or events. Like Apple has a yearly WWDC and some other event. And so you want to announce at that event or before, coming into that event. It's a marketing motion is part of that. You want to time everything to hit. And every company has their own perspective on what they want to do. And even in Microsoft, it changed around a little bit, but roughly speaking, I think the summer was when we wanted to see things. The way it was explained to me, this is 20 years ago, so I'm sure things have changed, was you wanted to be, there was like what they called the price list, which was back then, this is how I visualize it, like a list of software with their prices that we would give enterprise customers. And if it wasn't on the price list, like no one would buy it. Like you couldn't tell them like in an email 2 months later, oh, we have this new thing. They're like, it wasn't on the original price list, so we're not even considering it. Now, I'm sure that's evolved. That was a 20-year ago statement. They only pushed back to February starting S25. Interesting. Now that you said that, I'm just gonna put like another random notes. Next book. I think considering the Moving Pad 14 could make potentially be, I think considering the Moving Pad 14, maybe that could potentially make other companies for 2026 want to challenge. You're right. Listen, the Moving Pad 14 let me add that to a story we want to talk about. Impact of Moving Pad 14. Yeah. So the usual updates earlier, but fun, exciting stuff at Q2, Q3. Yeah. Ranger Fade, I want both. I want both the Moving Pad to be revisited and the Movink to be revisited, to be honest. Okay. Let's go through the tablets that were released, then we'll talk about the stories, because I have a couple of stories involved. Okay, let's get here. Okay, so we have these. Let me make it a little bit bigger for you. Let's see, this will do it. Nope. How do I full screen this thing? Okay, what do we have? We have this was Huion this year. Okay. Canvas 16 Gen 3 at the beginning of the year. Pretty good device. The only issue is some people are having trouble with the dials. Okay? Not everybody, some people. Canvas Pro 24 Gen 3. I did a live stream unboxing and testing. Decent tablet. Pretty good tablet. Yeah, better than decent. Decent was a bad word. It's a pretty good tablet. The only thing to watch out there, honestly, was that the screen, the pixels are a little soft. I thought they were softer than the Canvas Pro 19. Tio on Tech said he thought they were less soft than the Canvas Pro 19, so I'll have to take some photos, take a look, compare them side by side. Canvas Pro 27, 144 hertz. I'm happy they have this. It didn't really super excite me. I know some of you really like high refresh rates, but to me, 27's on the verge of like it's just too big as a tablet. All the 27 inches I find extremely overwhelming. And then Canvas Pro 16 V2, which really, I'll be honest with y'all, since it's only HD resolution, I believe, or I can't remember. We'll double check actually. Canvas Pro 16 V2. Canvas Pro 16. I think it's only HD. I don't want reviews, I want the specs. Yeah, it's only HD. Like, I don't know why you'd get this tablet as opposed to the Canvas 16. Like, it's not that cheap either, right? I think instead of this, you should get this, right? The only thing they really changed is they just added the V2 pen, the Pentec 4.0 pen. So I'm gonna put a star, right? Actually, let me find a Unicode star somewhere. Oh, I can use Microsoft's built-in things here. How's that? Star. There we go. I put it in a star. So that to me was very, very good. That was, I'm just putting a generic, I liked it. We need a butt of joke to promote the creme de la creme. Okay, that's actually interesting thinking there. I like it. So, look, Wacom released a ton of stuff this year. Surprised the heck out of me. Now, they said 2 years ago, their CEO, Nobu Ide, said, we're going to begin with revising a bunch of models. He said they were going to start with a professional line. Okay? And that's exactly what they did. this year, 2025, or this past year, we saw a bunch of Wacom. Now, let me tell you, I'll talk about each one. I love this one. I'm using it right now. I prefer 22 inch to be quite honest, but I love this tablet, okay? The 24 touch. I'm sure the 24 non-touch is good too, so I'll put a star there. 16, also great. They did a great job with all these. Moving Pad 14 not only deserves a star, it deserves, it was my tablet of the year, okay? My tablet of the year. It deserves this, okay? Range of fade, you're right. It is just Cintiq OLED. You're right. It is that. My prediction will be that they either revisit Movink or next Cintiqs might be OLED. Okay, let me copy that, and I'm going to put that in my predictions section, Rain, because I think it's good that we talk about that. Meteor star rating, is that good? Moving Pad 11, I think deserves a star. Okay, I think it deserves a star. Wacom 114. Look, it's hard to talk about. It's hard to talk about. I think this is a problem for Wacom. This is a problem. There's nothing wrong with the device. It does what it says it's going to do. But when you compare this consumer tablet to other consumer tablets, you're not getting a great value, especially because if you're using HDMI for the video signal, you have to buy about $100 extra worth of things to make it work. It's just not. I'm unhappy with this. Okay, I am unhappy with it. Okay, now this is controversial. The next set. Intuos Pro 25. I know some people hate this tablet. Okay, I understand why. I like it. I think I do recommend it. I want to be clear on this topic. I recommend this tablet. I have adapted completely to it. I've switched over from the 2017, which is a big deal. It just because of the bezels and the movement of the express keys to the top instead of keeping on the left, and the dropping of touch have enraged some people. Okay, let's just be honest. Some people are enraged. Rain says, yeah, I feel like if they say make a moving 16, then that would create issues for Cintiq 16 sales. That's why perhaps they should make new Cintiqs with similar hardware. Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up. I'm gonna add this into my predictions / what do we want section. I think likely it will come with touch. Wouldn't be surprised. Which will make moving tier above, but I heard there's an issue we won't have VESA mount, which, yeah, it's hard to have VESA if you have such a thin device. I think there are ways that could be accomplished, elegant ways, but, we'd have to see. Okay. I'm going to add touch as one of my things to talk about. Okay, let's get back to what was launched this year. Okay, XP Pen. Okay, I didn't try it, but Tio said I think he said put this in A tier, so I will agree with him. I was pretty happy with the XP Pen Artist 12 Third, Gen 3 or whatever. Hate the name, Third, not 3D, Third. Hate the name. They should have just said Gen 3 or something, or it's just confusing. But solid tablet, honestly. Solid tablet. Magic Drawing Pad. I actually really like it. I know the tilt is bad. I actually do like it. Okay, I'm actually gonna give it a star, but I'm gonna just qualify bad tilt. Okay, bad tilt. Magic Notepad. I'll actually still give a star, honestly, but of course it has bad tilt. I was not displeased with these devices. Right? They show a good positive forward trend. MDM says moving 16, might as well call them Stay Inc. 16. Actually, much has so much potential with DPN. Yeah, well, it's just got one problem with that tilt. You know what? Honestly, if they had fixed the tilt, we would have had two easy to recommend drawing tablets this year: the Moving Pad and the Magic Drawing Pad. But the tilt is bad. It would have been better for them to simply not have the tilt. Like, I would have. Maybe this is the way I think about it. The reason I give them a star is not everyone uses tilt. Okay. It's a fine device. It really is, right? Sir Eggs P. Pen Artista III. And Huion released a new pen this year, X4 pen. Seems good so far. I haven't done a lot of testing. I only do testing when I have like 2 or 3 pens, but it seems fine. Seems fine. I like it. I like that. Okay, so what are the stories? Let's talk about the stories. Okay, Brad actually, let me just show you this video. Sorry. Let me open up Chrome here. I think it was on one of Brad's thumbnails, which I just want to show because it's so appropriate. Brad Colbo. Let's take a look. Let's look at his videos here. I thought it was him. I may be mistaking this. Okay, so it wasn't about the moving pad. I misremembered this. It was about the Cintiq 26, the Cintiq 16. Okay, but what's the thumbnail say? Wacom is back, baby. Wacom, yes, we're so back. Okay, so we're so back meme. Okay, we're so back. We're so back. First of all, where does it come from? Okay, let's take a look. No, there's got to be an original here. Let's see what it is here. It can be, we're back. It's over. We're back. From Twitter in 2021. We're so effing back. Now there's another one which is like, we're so back. We're saying it's over and we're back. What the heck was that? I'm scared. It looks like some AI ads. Okay. This is a bad article. I want better examples. Okay, let's see. Ranger Fade has a. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Let's do that. I like that. Let's pop it. Yeah, here's where we go. So yeah, Wacom is back. Wacom is back. Okay. After really disappointing me with the Wacom 1 2023 releases, I mean, still, this year they came back strong. I mean, crazy strong, right? Let's take a look at what they released again. Take a look at this, okay? How many stars I have? Almost everything has a star by it. Okay? Only one thing doesn't. Strong year for them. Strong year. The last few years, they haven't delivered things I liked. I mean, sorry, let me clarify. They delivered some powerful tablets. The Cintiq Pro models were pretty good. I hate the fan noise, but they were pretty good tablets actually. But the consumer line, the Wacom 1 2023 pen displays and pen tablets were the pen tablets were awful. The pen displays were lackluster because they were just too expensive for what they delivered. Right? Zalami has an issue. So, Zalami, fantastic that you brought this up. Let me explain what the status is. okay, there's two elements to this. First, there's what I just felt, and then what other people felt. Okay, so there is the bezel just before you drop off the screen. It's slightly raised. Okay, it's just very slightly, like a tenth of a millimeter or something. And I could feel it. It felt different from the old Wacom Pro Intuos Pro 2017. Now, my first week or so, it was not painful, but it was noticeable. I felt it. It was like not exactly irritating, but it was on my mind because you'd feel it. You could just feel it, because humans are extremely sensitive to things like this. Then other people felt that the way they draw, I guess their hand is resting on it, and it hurt them. Like they hate it. So I didn't find pain to be the issue. I just found it distracting, irritating. Other people found it irritating to painful. And some people were definitely, Jaugi, who's in our Discord, I think, and as well, he's visits our streams every now and then. He made a very popular video, actually, talking about the tablet, and he did not like it because of that bezel, at least for the bezel. I think he had other issues with it. So that's a bit unfortunate. Because I think it's one of those things that could have been caught, right? It could have been caught. Okay, so yeah, what a great year for Wacom. They're back, and they have launched products which are going to. So let's make a concrete example, so it's totally clear for you. The Wacom Cintiq 24 Touch is, I don't know, I think it's $1,300 something like dollars. So it's not cheap, but it's not, $3,000 like the Cintiq Pro 22. And it's a pretty good tablet. Now it's only 2.5K resolution, or whatever they call that. It's not 4K. So let me ask a question. If you had a Huion that had a 4K 24-inch pen display, versus a Wacom 24-inch pen display, and they were differing in price by $100, and they both support touch, but the Huion's 4K and this one's 2.5K. People's minds, I think, start saying, well, why don't I just go Wacom now? After all, do I really need 4K? Well, that's the power of the brand. So I think that's a very aggressive pricing. I'm happy they did it. It's not cheap, but it's not $3,000. So I thought that was great. MDM brings up a good point. Another issue for larger moving is the whole marketing thing about it is more portable and lighter, so a larger one kind of goes against the whole. That's right. As you get these bigger sizes, it's just like the messaging can't survive, right? 16 is getting to the point where you can't really show someone putting it in their pocket, or what I'm saying, it's just different. It's bigger than a lot of devices. It's bigger than a lot of things that can carry things. It might not fit in some bags, right? Mixie says, yes, they are. I wish the 16 was a touch version. I agree. I absolutely agree. I'm in the market for a new tablet, and I'm debating over the Huion Canvas 24 and the Wacom 24 Touch. Wacom design pen. It is. Their Pro pens are still the best on the market, and there is no denying that. There's just no denying that. So I think Wacom executed very strongly this year. There are things they did I did not like, or at least that are still problems. I'll just say what they are. I'm always very honest about these things. I told you about the Wacom 114, right? It doesn't come with all the cables you need, and that's a problem, okay? It's not a good consumer choice. Number 2, they dropped touch, which is very, for the Intuos Pro line, right? I think I get it, not everyone uses it, but It's hard to remove a feature like that. I felt there was a miss that they didn't have. Sorry, let me just clarify. The Cintiq 24 doesn't have touch. The Cintiq 24 Touch obviously has it. The Cintiq 16 does not have touch. I think this was a miss. I think they should have just released two tablets. Both had 24 and 16 that both had touch. I think touch is going to have to be a standard feature on tablets. Yeah, it's right now kind of a pro feature, but we're going to have to, I think we should start expecting it as a standard, non-pro feature. So yeah, Wacom, great year for them. Lots of velocity. Eddie, nice to see you on the stream. There is something called nib rotation lock after full insertion. Is that a Wacom feature or is that someone else feature? Because I think someone mentioned this, but I can't remember which brand did it. If you can let me know, please. So yeah, great. I think we should congratulate Wacom. I mean, they've been quiet for so long. They don't release tablets every year, right? Oh, we got memes. Share your memes on the Discord. Oh man, this is good. This is good. Did you just make this Ranger Fade? This is good. Let's show this. Ranger Fade made this. I love this. Wacom Absolute Cinema. Yeah, that was this year. Okay, thank you for clarifying, Eddie Valor. That was Huion. Nicely done. Nicely done, actually. I mean, it just looks like you composited it very well. Very well. I'll have to check into, sometimes companies create phrases and names and to describe something that you're not sure if it's a new technology or not. So nib rotation lock, I can believe there's something there, but I haven't seen what that is. I don't know what is the implementation, right? And how are we measuring this rotation lock? Yeah, it's a really good meme. I love it. I love it. Okay, so that was the big story. I think we should salute Wacom. They're back. Let's get through the rest of the stories, then we'll talk about the future. Okay. Do you have a link to it, Eddie Valros? Because I'll if you have a link to where they say that phrase, I'll take a look. Because when I see the phrase nib rotation lock, I interpret it differently than you are. I have heard of rotation. I have heard of a kind of rotation control in certain kinds of Japanese pencils, mechanical pencils, but never that in a EMR pen. Did Wacom abandon their Be Not Afraid? What was it? What did Cube call it? He drew a little picture with glowing eyes on it. He called it biblically accurate Wacom. I don't know. I never liked it. I never liked that logo. Wacom. I didn't even want to call it logo. Yeah, this thing. I was not a huge fan of it. I mean, it just didn't speak to me. What is Kuru Toga? Ranger Fade. Okay, Eddie, I will check. I do remember that phrase. I just didn't know what that meant. So I mentioned something about mechanical pencil. There is one pencil, maybe multiple, where as you draw with the pencil, like a literal pencil, mechanical pencil, It'll rotate the lead so that you're not wearing it out in one place. It just kind of just rotates it. It literally rotates it. Now, this seems to be something else, and I don't know what it is, right? Because I've seen the insides of many EMR pens. I can't believe anyone would make... Yeah, Ranger Fade, you're the one who told me about it. Yeah, that's right. So I can't imagine any EMR pen behaving that way. The reason I say that is because EMR pens, you don't want metal near the inductor coils. That's why I'm really curious about it. Okay. So I want to talk about the Moving Pad 14. Okay. Oops, I changed this. I'll just call this... Oh, sorry, pressing the wrong button. The impact of the Moving Pad 14. Okay. Now, I've said this many times. I think the Moving Pad Pro 14 is the tablet of the year. It won my highest award. It was an S-tier tablet. And I want to just spend time why I think it's important, okay? It's important because we have an answer. We have an answer. See, up until the Moving Pad Pro 14, or even the Moving Pad, honestly, 11, we had a problem. Because we had never seen the best and excellent pen experience on a mobile device, okay? What do we have? What do we see? We saw the Apple Pencil, which behaves very differently from what we're used to with the drawing tablet. I don't really like using it. Lots of people hate using the Apple Pencil. Some people love it, that's fair. But lots of people who use a Wacom hate the Apple Pencil, and that's the truth. Okay. The other choice we had was the Samsung Galaxy Tab S devices. They use S Pens. S Pen's a very mediocre, meh pen. High IAF, low maximum pressure, inconsistency unit to unit. Doesn't have traditional buttons. I mean, it has a button, doesn't have two buttons. We didn't have good pen. We didn't have the pens I want. So for all this time, we've not had what I would consider to be a great pen. Right? Yes, we had the Magic Drawing Pad, but those pens are okay. We never saw what the best was. But now with the Moving Pad 11 and the Moving Pad Pro 14, we know what it is. We know what the best drawing experience is. It is demonstrated by the Moving Pad products and the Pro Pen 3 that comes with it. There's no doubt. So I'll say it clear. If you want the best drawing experience on an Android device or a mobile device, to me the answer is clear. It's the Moving Pad 11 or the Moving Pad Pro 14. Now, I'm not saying that just to, compliment Wacom. What I'm trying to say is that we have a standard now. We can judge everything relative to the Moving Pad Pro 14. When Samsung releases their next, Galaxy Tab S12 Ultra, and they tell you it has this amazing pen experience with their new, with their S Pen, we can look right at that tablet and say, that's categorically false. It's going to be false because S Pens are UD-EMR pens. They deliver high IAF, they deliver low maximum pressure, they have an inconsistent pressure response, the buttons are weird, they don't have erasers. I know Pro Pen 3 does not have eraser either, but bear with me. We can point to the moving pads as standards. That's why it's important. You may not want to ever get the moving pad. You may hate the device, but it is the standard for mobile drawing now. Okay? You getting what I'm saying? I'm not saying you should get the tablet. I'm not saying everyone will like it. I'm not saying it's super powerful. I'm not talking about those things. I am just talking about the drawing experience based upon the pen and the glass and the surface texture. We've got the answer is the best is these two devices, okay? So the jig is up. We can always, when someone releases a tablet, that should be the number one question we evaluate it with. How does it compare to the moving pad? Even if you don't plan on getting a moving pad, you should ask every reviewer. I don't know. I don't want to pick on anyone. Whenever there's a reviewer reviewing a new Samsung or whatever, you should say in the comments, whoever this is, you should say, how does it compare to the moving pad on these areas, on these dimensions, on IAF, on maximum pressure, on surface texture, on anti-glare sparkle, on parallax, on tilt compensation? Because what you get the moving pad is really good. Okay? That's why it's important. Let me give you an analogy that has nothing to do with drawing tablets. Now, I have a glass of wine, okay? Now, wine has alcohol. Many years ago, one of my friends wanted me to try scotch, okay? He wanted me to learn about it. And I didn't know much about, I still don't really know much about these things. But he's saying this, I was just asking what, he said you should go get some. And so I said, okay, I'll go buy some wherever. In the United States, in my state, by the way, at that time, there's a special alcohol store. You couldn't buy scotch in a grocery store. Back then you had to go to a special state-run store to buy alcohol. Now you can get it at a grocery store. But I said, I have to go to the special place to get it. What should I get? And here's the advice he gave me. He goes, and by the way, there are many kinds of scotch, okay? And they're very different. He said you should get a bottle of Glenlivet. And I had never heard that word before. He said, and I said, what is that? He goes, well, it's not that it's the greatest scotch in the world, and it's not that it's the best scotch in the world, but it's like the perfect standard. And every scotch you ever have, or every discussion you have about scotch with any other human, you can use Glenlivet as the reference point. Because you can always say, oh, it's spicier than Glenlivet, or it's more floral than Glenlivet, or it's less floral than Glenlivet, or it's more peaty than Glenlivet. It's the reference point, okay? Now, I'm sure Scotch aficionados will say, oh, I've totally got this wrong. But it's worked for me. And I'm expanding that. I'm using that as an analogy to explain why the Moving Pad and the Moving Pad Pro 14 are great examples. Because now what a good drawing. It's actually the best. It's the best drawing experience. Not even the middle of the ground. It's the best one. Okay. So I know I'm really harping on the Moving Pad Pro and just telling how good it is, but I mean it. It is really good. Okay, let's take a look at the comments. Ranger Fade says S Pen, more like ass pen. It's not a great pen. Sorry. It's just okay. It's just decent. Yeah. Moving Pad's just make the Pro Pen work. So I'm expecting Huion, they released these canvas slate devices that use a USI pen, which is terrible. No. If you see a tablet that comes with a USI pen, just say no. Don't get it. Okay? I don't even need to review or have the Huion slate with me. Watch Brad's review about it. He'll talk about the issues, right? It's a USI pen. Don't use USI. USI stands for Universal Stylus Initiative. Terrible pens. Microsoft Surface. I hate that pen. I hate drawing on the Surface. But now I can tell Microsoft, okay, your pen should behave like this device, not like this device. Sorry. Okay, Azurith says, do you have any issues with the Moving Pad Pro 14 touch gestures stop working intermittently even when the pen is not close to the screen? Let me think back. Give me a second. No. No, I haven't. I haven't had any issue where the Moving Pad Pro 14's touch disappeared on me. Up Croker, Glenfiddich. You know what? I've never had Glenfiddich. Can you believe it? Or at least, sorry, I believe I've had it, but I've never had time to really think about it, if that makes any sense. I was in an environment where I could think about it. Hi, Konto. Thanks for joining us. Now, if you must know, okay. I like Laphroaig a lot. Laphroaig tastes like, well, those of you who don't drink scotch won't know, but, and I haven't had Laphroaig in years. It tastes like smoke, like you're drinking smoke. Some people would describe it, this sounds bad, like gasoline or something. It's a very strong, I like Laphroaig so much. Back in the day, I'm not joking, I used to pour Laphroaig into a small, like, dish or a glass and put it in my room, like in where I sleep, in my bedroom. Because I just like the smell of it coming, like, just every now and then I'd smell it. Like, to me, it smelled sweet and powerful, almost like a cologne or so. It was really good. I loved it. You like scotch, but you like Glenfiddich. What was the other one I liked? Ardbeg, I think I like, but not as much as Laphroaig. Actually, let's take a quick look at the scotch and I'll tell you. Scotch types, Scotch brands. Let's take a look at this. Scotch and Art, what a great live stream. Okay, Johnny Walker, I was never impressed with. That's a blended, right? I was never really into that. Okay, let's take a look here. Okay, Dalwhinnie was okay. I may be mispronounced. Oh, sorry, you can't see what I'm saying. Dalwhinnie, okay, I guess that was okay. Lagavulin, I like Lagavulin. That's classy. If you don't like Laphroaig, you might like Lagavulin, but I prefer Laphroaig. Macallan. I don't know. The problem with Macallan is I've only ever had cask strength Macallan, so I can't really say anything about it, right? I've never had this. I don't know. I don't know why. I think my dad liked this kind. Shivas. I don't know what that is. So my dad is Indian, obviously, but I think this is a thing from that. I think in India they like it. I don't know, but I've never had it. Glenlivet, yeah, this is the standard. Glenlivet 12-year. Glenmorangie. I haven't tried it, or again, I haven't tried it enough to know. I've had Johnny Walker. Several kinds. I didn't think much of it. It was fine. Glenfiddich. Highland Park never had. Let's see. We have an explanation in Discord about what the rotation lock is. Let's see if I can find it. When the nib doesn't rotate around, so you draw. Okay, I see. I'll take a look at that. Well, wait a second. That's the way nibs normally work. They don't. Okay. Wait. Okay, I'll have to think about this one. Look, let me just be honest with you. People should not drink. Okay, there's nothing good about drinking. So yeah, avoid it. Avoid it if you can. That being said, I'm gonna drink some of my wine here. Oh, I like your edit to your Wacom Absolute Cinema. We got to make more tablet memes. I'll show you some of my tablet memes. I like Red Label better than Black Label. I love the burn of Red Label. There was one I had that tasted like toasted chocolate, and I loved it. I mean, okay, we were in a big room. There's like, I don't know, 30 people working there, and every couple of weeks I would buy an entire bottle of it, and we would just, there'd be a Friday, and like, everyone would like share it. They loved that stuff. I just can't remember the brand of it. Ardbeg, yeah, Ardbeg I like it. Though some of the stuff is really hard to deal with. Like, the taste of Ardbeg is going to be too much for a lot of people. Laphroaig is my jam. Now, to me, Laphroaig tastes like honey. And one thing I know, this is a thing that I think some people do. I would sometimes take a bite of dark chocolate and drink Laphroaig with it. The combo taste of dark chocolate and Laphroaig is probably going to be disgusting for some people, but I loved it. Like, I'd have it I'd have both the chocolate and the Laphroaig tasting at the same time. I didn't eat the chocolate, then have the Laphroaig. I had them at the same time. Yeah, proceeds to sip a bit more. Yeah, we're gonna go a little loose on this stream. Please do. One up. Please do. I would love to see what you like. I had my big fun time, a long time ago. So now I'm in my phase of life where I'm partying less and less. And for health reasons, you should always just Aberlour. I like. I'm gonna have to find that bottle I liked. Lagavulin. Yeah. Divorced dad, 9 p.m. nighttime wine type mood teaches you how to buy tablets. An Audi recommendation. Yeah. Audi. Yeah, actually, you know what? The same person who told me about Glenlivet, his name was Tobias, by the way. So maybe one day I'll show him the stream and we'll laugh about it. He's the same one who got me to buy an Audi, by the way. So I owe that guy a lot. He was one of my favorite people. He is one of my favorite people. He is. I just haven't spoken to him in a couple of years. So maybe I'll find him soon and just tell him what a great guy he is. I'm an ex-Navy, so you can trust me in alcohol. Oh, interesting. We have a Navy connection then, One Up Croker. My mother was in the Naval Reserve. She was a doctor. When she immigrated to the United States, she was a doctor in the Naval Reserve. So we were in right outside on the east coast of the United States, near a place called Virginia Beach. There's a place called, I think it's called Little Creek Amphibious Base. And so we lived in a little suburb near there. And so she was a doctor for a bunch of Navy guys. I asked her, what was it like being a doctor for Navy guys? And she goes, it was totally boring. She goes, all these guys are young, fit, and healthy. And she had nothing to do. But they loved her. Do I have the Huion 22 Plus? If you do, compare the screen with the Wacom 24 Touch. I do have it. I can just tell you right now. The 22 Plus screen is okay, but it's only HD, and that means you'll notice the pixels. So the 24 screen is better. It's definitely better. It's definitely better. The other thing about the 22 Plus is it's got a wide gamut that you can't. It's got like a 124 sRGB gamut, 140% sRGB gamut, which is really wide, and you can't clamp it to sRGB. So not in any way that I know of. So you end up with the colors are just too intense actually for a lot of people. Now it's okay if you're used to that's what you want, but you should know that. No, Ranger Fade, the crayon joke is for Marines, not for just people in the Navy. And I knew a bunch of Marines as well. Actually, I have immense respect for the Marines. By the way, here's a little trivia fact for you. Okay, sorry. You know, it's 2026, if you haven't heard that. And this year, we're going to celebrate the 250th birthday of America, the United States. And it's going to be a really lit party. I was there for the 200th birthday in 1976. That was nuts. You cannot imagine the spirit of what it felt like in 1976. I mean, it was non-stop stars, stripes everywhere. I'm not sure if we're going to see that this year, but I hope so, because it was like a non-stop party. Anyway, the reason I bring that up is the United States is 250 years old. The Marines are 1 year older. The United States Marines are 1 year older than the United States. I bet you didn't know that. But yeah, my Marine story is this. My family was stuck in a snowstorm, and my mom from India doesn't know how to drive in snow. Can you believe it? And we were literally stuck in the middle of a street late at night. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. This was a thing called the Blizzard of 1980 in Virginia Beach. You can find videos about it, because Virginia Beach doesn't really get snow. Not like this anyway. And this to this day, I wish I could find this guy and thank him. Because I was sick in the car with asthma, and this young Marine came by, and he just said, "Ma'am, well, I'll take care of it." And so I'm in the back because I can't get outside because my asthma's acting up. He got in the car and just, he knew how to drive in snow, and so he rescued us. And for that alone, I will thank the Marines. I joined the Marines. Question: am I immortal? I was in the Canadian Navy. I will say one thing. Sorry, I'm going to say one more thing about the Marines because I have a lot of respect for them. I had truly a pleasure of interviewing someone who's a Marine, and I've known several, but like this guy, this is at Microsoft. I interviewed him for a job, and I did give him a hire, by the way. His name escapes me at the moment, but what I really loved about him is that he was really direct with me, like really direct in a way that would be surprising for a lot of people interacting with their interviewer, right? And I appreciate that. He didn't hold back, and I appreciate honesty. And the one thing I got from him, that we talked a few times after that, is this is what he said. So I'm quoting him. I'm not making this up. He said, when you're a Marine, he's talking about himself. He's like, it's what you are, not what you did. So someone who's left the Marine Corps will always identify themselves as a Marine. And I thought that was really remarkable. And this, in my observation, that seems to be true. They tend to really heavily identify themselves as Marines, which I think is remarkable. And they should be proud of that. And they certainly are proud of being Marines. So good for them. And, of course, the crayon eating is a joke. We don't, they don't literally do that. Okay, I think this is a stream about tablets. So let's get back to tablets. Okay, so the next story for me is Huion Pentec 4.0. I put the word, they're hiding. Okay, so here's the deal. Let me do it a different way here. 2024, Huion released a bunch of tablets. They started with this Pentec 4.0, the PW600 series of pens. I have been telling you in every video, I've measured these pens. I have a lot of them, how happy I am with the pens. And I'm just talking about the pens. So that was 2024. They had the Canvas 16 Gen 3, the Canvas 13 Gen 3. We had the Canvas 24 Gen 3, which came out this year. I fully thought in 2025 we were going to see a bunch of pen tablets with Pentec 4.0. Hasn't happened. We got the Frago, which is fine, but it's using, a good but older generation pen. And I can't help but feeling that, I was disappointed. I'm going to be honest with you. They were really riding a great wave of, great products coming in being released, and that momentum seems to have been lost in 2025, right? And again, I'm talking about pen tablets using Pentec 4.0. And I will say this. I think they missed out on opportunity, okay? And I'll tell you why. This year, the Intuos Pro 2025 met with mixed reception. Some people love it, some people hate it. I like it. Let's be clear on that. Let's see, Up Croker. I would eat a crayon if it was 30% off. Nice. So there was mixed reception with the 2025 Intuos Pro series. I thought what would have been amazing would have been to have had a Huion release that had Pentec 4.0 pen tablets, right? Like, I like the Huion Giano. I do. I like it a lot. But once you start using these Pentec 4.0 things, you're like, oh, the pen is much better. Let's see that. I fully expected an Inspiroid 3 or a Giano, V2. Didn't get it. Right? Eddie Valros. Yeah, I was like you. I was disappointed. Now, again, I don't want to. I'm not criticizing them. What I'm trying to point out is, like, I just expected something to be launched. All year, I was primed for, we're going to see something, and it didn't happen. I even expected, okay, they're going to surprise me late in the year, right? Like in, I don't know, October or something. Nothing happened. Now, they were busy with pen displays. That's great. No complaints there. But that was, I think, a disappointment for me. This is how I'm, reacting. I will say this: they better get on the gear this year, okay? Because I do think they need a refresh, right? And Pentec 4.0 is a winner. It is a winner. Do you know? So there's reviewers that I hope you trust me as a. I don't consider myself a reviewer, but I talk about these tablets. You have me, you have Tio, and you have Brad. And I think we're all like super positive on this new pen. Release tablets that use a new pen. Okay? I'm out now. They took drinking and smoking away. We used to drink and smoke at sea all the time. Really? Well, some of these stories in the military are quite wild. Crayon race incoming. Nice. I hear people are drinking less these days. I think the statistics show that people are, at least in the United States, there's like less drinking than ever before. I think also it's due to people using other substances, like marijuana now is what I think they're doing. Well, this has turned into a society stream, huh? We're just talking about random things. Anyway, look, Huion, if you're listening, just release it. Look, I would say two things of Huion. Number one, use Pentec 4.0. Number two, you've got just improve the styling of the tablets just a little bit, okay? Up Croker, I want Huion to release a new KD200 with a bigger drawing area in Pentec 4.0. Just because not everyone knows, let's take a look to make sure everyone knows what a KD200 is, okay? Because it's an unusual tablet, to say the least. So I will probably get this year and try it out. I'm super curious about it. But again, I am waiting for a Pentec 4.0. Like, I'm disinclined to buy any Huion pen tablet that has the old Pentec, right? I'm not very inclined to do it. Pentec 6.9. Oh gosh, I fell for that one. Number two, remove the blurry. Yes, that is correct. I think the blur has to deal with the etched glass treatment. They just got to fix it. Like, they just got to. Ranger Fade. Anyway, you found anything new regarding the Turing? Okay, the Turing, which apparently is a white label Huion. Yes and no. No in that I still can't order it. Yes in that someone in the Discord actually has one. So Ranger Fade, if you look at Tablet Dissect channel, you will see someone, I think it's David Ames. I think he's got one. He did some testing on the pen with us today. Actually with the scale as well. So he measured the maximum pressure. So all we have is one person that has the tablet. Okay. Cami Luna, thanks for joining us. Really liking the Zengo Mono says, I am really liking the touch on the Canvas 19. Do you think Huion would ever have touch on the 1316? Yeah, I do think so, yeah. I don't know when, but look, my feeling is this. You will come to expect touch on every device because you have so many devices where you're already using touch, okay? I think, and it's going to be clearer later in the stream. I'm going to show you an example of why I think touch is important. It is important. I don't use touch 90% of the time on a tablet that has it. But when I do use it, it is important. It is useful. So I think they should just do it, right? And people will they have already developing that expectation because they use iPads, etc. Okay. If you don't want to give us touch, Happy New Year, Camila. Thanks for that. If you don't want to give us touch, at least give us a funny remote. Yeah. I'm all for funny remotes. Okay. Now, what was the other big story? RAM. Oh God, this is an absolute disaster. Okay. So that's just a big story this year. So how does it affect us? I hear that these increased RAM prices are going to make, it's going to be harder for people to afford, like computers that will work for them. Okay? Because suddenly it's getting real expensive. Now, fortunately, I bought computers at the right timing, so I avoided the disaster, but it's going to be a problem. I don't know how it's going to affect devices like the moving pad type devices, these Android drawing tablets in the future. Like, is their RAM a separate thing, or is it part of the CPU, right? Okay, Camiluna uses touch 99% of the time, but I have a situation where touching two fingers on the screen will undo an action and then pen. Interesting. I want to have touch version on their small tablet so I can better achieve portable drawing setup. Exactly. So that was, RAM was a disaster this year. And it's going to be, what I hear, it's not going to get alleviated until 2027. So the technical term is hosed this year. We're just going to have a bad experience with the RAM. On the plus side, I hear it's making Apple devices like, MacBook Pros, Apple Mac Minis seem attractive because they don't use the same kind of RAM or something, so they're not affected by these price issues. So even though they're expensive more on average, now they're starting to cost a bit more reasonable, compared to these PC devices. Okay, now AI is on the list. We'll get to that. So another thing that's coming this year is Snapdragon. I think it's called X2 Elite. That's coming. They say this is the one that's going to give us max Apple Silicon type performance and power. Maybe. I'm looking forward to it. Right? What do you think Turbox price should be? Keeps going on sale for 15-30% off. I would like to get the Turbox Elite or Turbox Elite Plus. I'll be honest with you, One Up Croker. I know it's expensive. For me, it was totally worth it because I won't draw without it now. Like, I have to have it when I draw. So for me, it's become critical. like I've had a TourBox now for what, 4 years, and I can't, I won't draw without it. I won't draw without it. So now, when someone makes a statement like that, it implies that the price should be high, but it is too expensive. Let me be honest. What's it cost right now? Like 200 something? Let's take a look. TourBox Elite Plus. Okay, normally 297, now 252. That's expensive. I think a device like this, 200. The Elite Plus should be 200. I mean, I know, like, they've got to recoup their costs, but I think 200 would be a much more reasonable place for a lot of people. It would unlock a lot of people. Drawgon. I like it. I like that. Maybe we'll do it in this stream. I wanted to do let's envision what the perfect tablet is, right? And we'll have to think of a name, right? So my traditional name for my quote perfect tablet is, the brand name would be Penultimate, which means the next to last of any list. But Drawgon sounds interesting. Yeah, 200 at most. One up. 200 at most. Okay. I skipped XP Pen. XP Pen had a really good year, actually. But the thing is, it's been overshadowed by Wacom. Like, I can't complain about any tablets it's made this year. But Wacom just Drawgon. The Magic Notepad, Magic Notepad just have bad tilt, but like other than that, they're pretty good tablets. Yeah, I will get the Elite Plus once I start seeing reviews about how well the Android integration works, Camilano, because I would love that. I would love that, right? Okay, RAM, AI. Okay, let's talk about AI for a second. Okay, I don't get headaches, right? I don't think I've ever had a headache, so I have to simulate one by doing this. I don't know. This is tough. It's tough. There's no stopping it. And I don't use AI. I don't use generative AI for drawing things. Why would I do that? I use generative AI for coding, but that's a very different thing. The genie's not going back in the bottle, so we're going to see just more of this. It'll become more subtle. It'll become better, and we're just going to get used to it. I don't know what this means for people whose, livelihoods depend on art, creating digital art. I think there's probably some way of navigating AI, which is probably going to give people still a chance at making a living doing something creative. And there's certainly going to be a set of people who are going to be AI, not use AI at all. I think it may cause a resurgence in physical art, like, real media, like paint, watercolor, right? The bubble will pop, Ranger Fade. I don't think it's not gonna pop to eliminating it, okay? 252 USD plus import. Canada has import fees. I forgot about that. That's one reason when I talk about tablets, I used to list the prices, but I actually removed the prices because they're all in US dollars, obviously. And they would just be wrong for too many people. I think there has to be some resurgence in that, right? There has to be. Now, whether there's going to be enough of a resurgence to make a living, I don't know. I really have no clue how people are going to deal with it. But the genie's not going back in the... And, we did a little stream, last month, earlier in December, where we talked about AI. And I said, like, there are uses of AI that the audience found okay, even though it was technically generative AI. Like, my example was like, okay, what if I asked AI to zoom out on a photo? Would you consider that immoral or unethical? And I think the audience said, well, there's some uses that seem okay-ish, but some uses are definitely bad, right? Some people felt like all uses were bad. I am going to be honest. AI art doesn't really change anything doesn't change anything we do. We already have our own self-worth issues before it came along. It definitely did that. Yeah. I think it exacerbated those issues. Absolutely, right? We will survive. Look, I don't think that anything is. I don't think we're gonna art's not going away. I hate saying the word art. I do. I really do. Because I don't know how to say that word in a way that doesn't get into an argument. Right? Because people just say, well, what does that mean? What does art mean? I don't know. I will just talk about humans creating things, right? AI does not mean the end of human creativity. Okay? It is going to change in some way, yes. And we're going to have to reevaluate what we really care about. I'll give you an example so I'm totally clear. Now, I am a huge fan of music, like many of you are. I like covers. I love hearing covers, okay? And up until a few years ago, all the covers you heard were made by humans, right? And I can think of a few off the top of my head, which are just fantastic. Now you see a bunch of YouTube channels that create covers, like, I don't know, country music versions of songs that were rock, right? And some of them were done so well, you'd have a hard time picking out. Maybe a musician could, I could not. I'm not a musician. So I think that is going to, I'm just using that as an example. I'm not saying everyone likes cover music. But the idea that people can enjoy something that's synthetically created. After all, even I listen to Miku singing, right? Which is a Vocaloid, right? Totally artificial thing. So even on the stream, I have background generic music. I mean, it's human made. I pay for that. But how many of you would care if, I'm not doing this, by the way, so let's be clear on this. How many of you would care if it was background generic jazz that you're not really paying attention to anyway, but it was just synthetically created by generative AI? I don't want to do that. I think what we're going to see is you'll see that happening everywhere, and like more and more, and people will just not care. I think that gen art is not even capable to do whatever humans can do. Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Yeah, well, there's going to be pain. I want to make sure I'm clear on this. This is a transition that will cause pain, like not trivial amounts of pain for people. It will be not only emotionally difficult, it will be financially difficult. How this really works out, I don't know. I just don't know. Oh gosh, this is a challenging statement. It isn't the end of creativity, but is the beginning of a new level of depravity. But yeah, it is going to be. I think it's going to affect so much, right? I think it's going to affect so much. And again, not just in creative fields. We don't need, what do they call it? AGI, artificial general intelligence or something. We don't need that to have a big impact. I mean, lots of impacts can be done without that, okay? Lots. Okay, I'm gonna get some more wine and I'll be back as we celebrate this beginning of 2026. Okay, I am back. I am back. Sorry for the delay. I realized I had ordered food to be delivered to my house, and it got delivered an hour ago. So I had to go. Now it's cold. I had to go pick it up. Okay, the music, my audio got a bit messed up. So let's see if I can fix that. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll fix that. Why is it not fixing? Sometimes audio issues are the weirdest thing about. I love these AirPod Pros, but sometimes they get disconnected. It was. There we go. Now we're connected. Okay, let's see. The core issue, Mixie Gobbin says, the core issue is how we define fair use regarding trading data. Well, the genius out of the bottle, we must establish clear regulatory frameworks and eliminate copyright violations. Well, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I do agree with what you're saying. It should be, if your content is out there, there has to be some pathway to understanding how it's being used if someone else is making money off it. Okay? This seems to really be more understood in the music world than in the visual world for some, I don't know why. In music, there's like a strong set of protection around you using a piece of music. Trust me, if on my stream I play some music that isn't licensed, YouTube will flag it like in seconds, right? And videos will be demonetized. It's happened several times. It's happened to me because I don't sometimes, I've played a video on stream, like a YouTube video, and I didn't realize the music was playing, and then, a few seconds of that gets detected. But nothing like that happens visually, okay? But the idea that you could create something and then someone else could make money off it in some way, that's a little weird, right? So we're going to have to figure this out. And I wish I had a background on this topic. I don't. And the challenge AI presents is interesting because, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a perspective on my background here. So Microsoft and Google, what they do is, because I worked on these systems in a sense, to have a search engine, they crawl the web, okay? They crawl the text and they crawl the media, images, video, obviously, right? They crawl the web and they create caches, right? When you type in something, it fetches from I'm simplifying. And there's also a media repository, right? And they need things like that because if they want to give you search results on something, they have to give you the thumbnails for the video. So how do they generate the thumbnails? They had to get the video and extract something and get a thumbnail. So just indexing the web requires reading the web, okay? And they have very big systems. When I say very big systems, your computer has what? 1 terabyte of data, maybe 2 terabytes of data. Maybe you have a NAS, a network attached storage, which has 30 terabytes of storage. From terabyte, 1,000 times that is what? Petabyte, okay? 1,000 types of petabyte is exabytes, okay? Microsoft, on one of its systems inside Microsoft, this, by the way, this is a public number, so it's a multi-exabyte system. That's one of their systems. And that was multi-exabyte years ago, okay? And that was before AI came on, which gave the company something to do with that data besides return search results, okay? So this data has always been collected. And now they're training on it to do more interesting things. Okay? So I just wanted to give you a little bit of insight into how long this has been going on. So it's been going on for a very long time. Like, collecting this data has not been going on recently. Like, it's been always been collected as a part of search engines. Hi, Pleasant. Good to see you. Cami Luna. The music industry has celebrities, and that industry creates laws protecting their work. All the most famous artists are currently dead. Yeah, that's true. The chat conversations remind me that Pleasing. Sorry, Pleasing. I'm not sure what you're saying here. There is no billionaire in the art industry to lobby for protective laws. Okay, here's an idea. Okay, here's the idea. Let's somehow become buddies with Elon and see if he can help us. Let's see if he can help us do something. He's like such a troll. Love him or hate him. And I appreciate characters. I'll always say this. I don't know what to say. I like people that have a personality. I like people to be out there. I may not agree with them. I want them to be themselves. Okay? And Elon is such a character. Trump is such a character. I like people that just say what they think. He's literally open to steal art. Elon, you mean? Has he talked about AI in this? I don't know. I mean, sorry, I know he has. I'm just saying, with regard to the topics, protecting things. Has he specifically said anything? Off topic. How does the Wacom Pro Pen 2 compare to using the Wacom Grip Pen KP501? I can find the grip pen for much cheaper. It's very good. It's very good. The grip pen's maximum pressure, so they both have the same low IAF. The grip pen's maximum pressure is about, my measurements, about 400 gram force. Maybe a little bit higher actually, just a little bit higher. The Pro Pen 2's got a crazy maximum pressure, which you don't need. So grip pen, the KP501 should work perfectly for you. Definitely try it out. At the worst case, it'll be a much better backup for you than like an S Pen or something, or whatever other pen that's compatible with the tablet. He recently added edit image to Twitter. I mean X. Oh, did he? Maybe we'll try that out. It was a meme that he shared, a 2B image, which was one. What does 2B mean here? Which was done by an artist and refused to credit it. That was pre-Grok era. He refused to credit something? That's odd. That's odd. You should always give credit to people, right? As much as you can, you should give credit to people. I think, look, this is actually what I say at work, by the way. I look for opportunities to celebrate people. Okay? If, just earlier in the stream, I talked about scotch, right? I didn't just tell you which scotch and why. I told you about the person who told me about the scotch, which is Tobias. Because I'm celebrating his wisdom on this topic and what he taught me, his sophistication. I think you should always do that. It's a game character. Oh, let's make sure I know who 2B is. I think I know what you're talking about. 2B game character. Let's see. Oh! What is this? Near Automata. Well, she's dressed up in a very it's very intriguing clothing. Very, very intriguing. Is she a robot? It's a really interesting style. Has she got like a mask on? It's a good design. Look, I'm not gonna lie, it's a good design. It's a game character. I've seen this character. I didn't know who it was. I didn't know who it was. Elon is extremely pro stealing art for image generation. The new edit image feature on X is crazy. People are using it to undress people in their photos. Oh! Of course. Of course that's what people would do. Of course. Well. Wait. You could, of course, because you could like take this character and say, put her in, I don't know, armor, and they'd do it, right? And of course, you could be able to do the inverse, like make her wear less. I assume it will not create naked people. Maybe I'm wrong, but I assume it will not do that. That game is unironically the best warning of the AI. Is it based on some thread of AI in the game? She's an android. You know, I do want to... Okay, actually, let's take a look at this game. I don't play a lot of games, so I am playing Far Cry 6. And I just gotta tell you, I'm gonna do my Far Cry 6 meme. Not meme, I'm gonna just tell you something. I love Far Cry. My Far Cry 5 is my favorite. Far Cry 6 is really interesting to me because it's just got its own culture, because it's kind of like this kind of weird synthetic Cuba simulation going on, kind of. And of course, lots of people are speaking Spanish, and the culture, you know, there's a lot of Latin influence. But I'm convinced I'm learning the wrong kind of Spanish. I don't know any Spanish, but I'm convinced I'm learning some bad words. Like, if the characters say the same words over and over, I'm not going to say the words. But I'm convinced they're probably not good words. They're not good words. But they're so good at saying them. They're so good at saying them. Like, it's delicious the way they curse at each other and say things. I think it's fantastic. I'm a huge I love language, so I love when people can really express themselves. Okay, Nier Automata. Am I pronouncing it right? Nier Automata. I want gameplay. Like, I'm scared of the words I'm scared of the words that I've been learning because I say them so often that it's natural. And I'm even scared of looking the words up. Okay, let's take a look at this gameplay here. Let's take a look. I just want some... Okay, I guess this will work. Notice I have the volume down, so no audio. Okay, she's running real fast. So it's a running game. Oh, she's jumping. It's a running and jumping game. Let's make it bigger so you can see. She's running and jumping. And there's some robots or something? Okay, she got hit. She's slicing them with a sword. Okay, maybe I should fast... Oh, that's too much for me. This is too much action for my eyes. I like this thing next to her that's shooting. Whatever that is. That's cool. To me, this has a Kojima vibe, which I love Kojima, by the way. Okay, I can't be all these jumping things. Let's try something later in the game. Okay, she's got a buddy now. And the flying robot. Still with these little jumping robots. Okay, let's try something else here. It looks good. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. This is probably some sort of like mini game, I guess. What am I seeing here? Oh, all her enemies are these kind? Okay, Zalami, I might get it. I might get it. I can say as a Puerto Rican that many Spanish-speaking countries have their own set of swear words. Have you played Far Cry 6, Kemi Luna? We're curious what your take is. By the way, you may not know, I actually lived for a year in Puerto Rico when I was a young child. But I didn't learn any Spanish. But when I was in college, the two of my favorite buddies, Dave and Terry, were Cuban. I just they were twins. They were twins. They were just amazing guys, and good soundtrack. I'll be honest with you, this is too much for me. Like meaning when games are this fast paced, it's just too much for my brain to absorb. Remember, I'm a boomer. I can't keep up with this many stuff on the screen. This much stuff on the screen. Okay, just so everyone understands what I'm talking about. Okay, this is why when I play Far Cry, I snipe. I slowly stealth invade a base. I can't play fast games, right? I cannot do it. Because you have to remember, I grew up on this kind of game. Let me just, you guys will understand when I say it. Well, you won't understand, some of you, but this is the kind of game I grew up on. Okay, you hearing me? This is what I played. Okay. Like I can deal with this. Or actually, one of my favorites is Indiana Jones and the Fate of it. Really, this should be a movie. Yeah, this is the kind of game I vibe with. I never played Dark Souls. I'm playing Fallout 4. I've never played any Far Cry games. I mostly play RPGs or Mario games and anything more cartoony. Got it. I would like more cartoony games. I would like cartoony. I like visual style. Bayonetta is also with the same studio. Okay, actually, you know what? Let's take. We are completely off the rails in this stream. Completely off the rails. So first of all, take a look at this thumbnail here. Did men used to look older? Wilford Brimley is 49. Okay. Paul Rudd is 49. Now, Paul Rudd's a funny guy. Okay. I'm 54. Do you think I look more like Wilford Brimley, this guy on the left, or Paul Rudd, the guy on the right? I'm just curious. Chat, please let me know. Though I think my family is known for being younger looking. My brother is 1 year younger than me, but you would think he's in his 30s. I tell you the game I like, honestly, is this game a lot. I'll show you let's play Dishonored, the original. I'm going to show you why I like it, if I can find a character close up. Because you got to see a character for you understand why I like the art style. I'm trying to find an actual character here. Like one we're going to... Okay, yeah, here. Oh, I skipped off it. Everything I'm clicking on doesn't show you a character, which I think is hilarious. Okay, maybe. Okay, before this character gets assassinated, I just want to show you this entire game looks like this kind of painting, right? Which I love this style. I love this style. Marvel Cosmic Invasion, Shinobi Art of Vengeance, beautiful. Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Marvel Cosmic Invasion. I've not seen this. Oh! I would play this. Yeah. It is like a Street Fighter type game. See, I like this kind of pixelated look. I mean, I grew up with it. This was actually sophisticated for what I had. It's hard to... Okay, let's pause it here. I don't know who the artist is, so I gotta tell you, I love the style. I love the style. When I was young, the only art I really saw was comic books, and I remember thinking like, oh, I want the art more detailed, more, you know. That's when we were in college. All my buddies and I were in comics, who were into comics, said that we wanted more detailed art. That's why we really gravitated to artists like Jim Lee. His art was so detailed, and Jim Lee is a good artist. Let's not debate that. But over time, I've come to realize the value of artists that are heavily stylized and not detailed. So this is actually a great example. Oops, let me show you so it's more clear. This is actually a great example. I love this style. I appreciate line work a lot more now. When you've seen, when you see good line work, which I don't have the right word, I don't have the terminology to explain it, but I get really impressed by what people can do. You realize it's skillful. And I came to appreciate the older Marvel Comics artists who had good control over their lines. I'll give you another example. Paul Smith, such a generic name. Artist. This guy's art was just sublime. It may not seem like much to you, but let's just take a look at this Wolverine cover. This, I can't zoom it in unfortunately anymore, but his art was like just perfect. Underrated. My favorite games in terms of visual style, art style, are Mario and Luigi Brothership. Okay, let's take a look. Mario and Luigi Brothership. Oh, I like this. I like this a lot, actually. I'll tell you what I like about it. I like the I don't know how to say this, like the depth of the colors. I like how it's straddling the border between, like, it's not pixelated, but it has the vibe of coming from the pixel art world. Does that make sense? Like, look, I don't know what these creatures are right here. These pig things, I guess. Like, they're not pixelated, right? Like, but they just have a great vibe from that era, if that makes sense. I love this. This is really good style. Salami. So it's a fantastic question. It's a perfect question. So I'll repeat it for the audience, which is there a difference with diagonal wobble compared to the KP501E and the Pro Pen 2, or is it more to do with the tablet itself? Tablet itself. The wobble is how the tablet compensates for how it's measuring the position, because there's only a finite number of coils receiving data from the pen, receiving the signal from the pen. So you shouldn't see any difference between the diagonal wobble of the KP501 versus the KP504 Pro Pen 2. Now, in theory, a tablet could say, oh, if it's this pen, do something different than this pen. But I haven't seen that with Wacom's case, right? So I just want to let you know that that's the issue. Brothership and Shovel Knight. The visual style is based on pixel art style from first Mario and Luigi in 2003. Art team did a good job bringing that. Yeah, I want style in what I see. And this is one reason, I've read, this is a classic Seven Pens rant. If you know me personally, uh, I hate when 3D environments or characters in a game are over textured. Over textured means like, if you're looking at a wall, it's completely like filled with patterns and stains and like, it's just assaulting the mind. And there's just, to take a line out of the movie Amadeus and say, here, too many pixels. There's just too many pixels. I like to see artists pick and choose what detail they're going to show, right? And that means you're selective in the use of detail and shading and color. And I think this, to me, strikes a very harmonious balance between, so everyone sees. It exercises artistic control. And that's what I like about it, right? I don't think there's a point in making games crazily realistic, right? I appreciate sometimes the efforts they make to make them seem like a movie, but at some point they're just becoming movies, right? And at that point, I'm not sure if I want to experience them as a game. Because there's plenty of movies that give me the same thing for less money. Okay, let's get back to tablets. Where were we? AI. We're talking about AI. I think the conversation we're going to have in just a year is going to be maybe 2 years is going to be very different. And AI is going to hit us all in every tool we have. I don't think there's a doubt about that. Will there be a AI collapse? Like a bubble popping? Yeah, maybe. Pleasing, you're right. If the gameplay is bad, what's the point of the visual? Exactly. Make good gameplay, please. And if that means releasing less games, okay. If that means making smaller, investing in smaller indie games, yeah, let's do that. Remember, back in the day, all games used to be essentially what we would call today indie games. There were no big game publishers, right? And those were some of the biggest hits you ever saw. Or at least no publishers like we know them today. It's tough translating 2D to 3D, but they really blocked it out. They knocked it out of the park. Check out Marvel Tokon Soul for another great example of this. ArcSys are just masters of this. Okay. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is the best game that shows how a game can look simple and still cinematic. Let's take a look at it. Because I've actually never played a Zelda game, by the way. Legend of Zelda Ocarina. Here, let's take a look. I'll just do gameplay instead of a review. I think one of the things I had a discussion. I want to say maybe it was an argument, but the key point was I could not get my point across the way I was explaining myself to a friend of mine. I was trying to say I wanted to see a bit more of an artistic expression that seemed more like a comic come to life, right? More anime, like an animated series made into a video game. And my friend suggested, well, you should just add a filter, like a noise filter to everything. That'll make it look like that. I go, no. And they said, oh, you should just add cell shading to everything. That'll make it look like, no, that's not what I'm going for. I'm looking for something that looks like someone took care in the visual style. Okay? And so whenever someone does that, that impresses me a lot. See, in the ancient days, when you had limits to the number of colors and triangles, etc., you had to pick and choose. Now you can just do anything, and so people just go overboard. I don't know. To me, people are overestimating the capabilities of AI. Most people don't even know what it is right now. It's not intelligence, and that's how most people perceive it. You have a good point, Salami, and let me add to this. AI does not know anything. Okay? It doesn't know. Okay? And I think it's a fair comment to say there's no real intelligence there. I get that perspective, and I think it's accurate in some ways, at least. I think there's a lot of things where whether it's intelligent or not won't matter to people as long as it works, right? Now, I think we have yet to hit the disappointment level. There's always this. There's a curve called like the hype curve. It's like expectations get high, hype, then there's like it declines, and there's a trough of disappointment, and then real people start using it, and people start using for businesses, etc. I think we're early in that. We haven't hit our big trough of disappointment quite yet with AI. Okay, let's take a look. What else? Okay, let's move forward to... I'm taking a look. Predictions. Let's make some predictions, okay? We had some predictions from Rain. And I have my own predictions. And please, in chat, share your predictions, okay? Share your predictions. Let's find... Okay, here we go. So, Rain predicted they being Wacom, will either revisit the Move Ink or the next Cintiqs, or the next Cintiqs might be OLED and slimmer and similar to Move. So overall, what I hear Rain's comment here is a kind of merging. I think it's plausible to predict that. It's plausible because I think the Move Ink and the Cintiqs they're just a weird mix right now. Like, they have a Move Ink 13. Would Wacom ever release a Cintiq 13 if there's already a Move Ink 13? I don't think so. Camulo says Pentec 4.0, Huion pen tablet finally. I think it's got to happen. Look, I think that's a good prediction. I think it's absolutely going to happen. Right? I think so. One of my things is touch. I think not in 2025, right? Or not in 2026, but later, but soon. Touch will be standard. That's my prediction. Okay? Touch will be standard. And the copyright issues, Salami, that is true. Okay. Next prediction. Does everyone know who the Great Karnak is? The Great Karnak. Oh, it's C. This is the Great Karnak. So he holds this envelope up. He opens up the envelope. He reads it. And it's a prediction. So I'll use my my measuring thing here. Okay. So what's the prediction? Right. You're not gonna like this one. 2026. We will see the first subscription to drawing tablets. Okay. I don't know what form that's going to take. It could be a subscription to Nibs. It could be a subscription to something. But we're going to enabling 16,000 pressure levels. But we're going to see a subscription to something. I'm not approving of it. I'm not endorsing it. I'm not recommending it. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. That's my prediction. Okay? We're gonna see. We're gonna see. Let's take a look at what you're predicting here. Mixie says Huion Canvas Pro 19 with Canvas Class 3 and 140. Haptic pens. Oh, I like this. Okay. In 2026, Mixie Goblin says haptics. I love the idea. Haptics. Yes. Haptics. And, high refresh rates. High refresh rates will be normalized. I think that's a good prediction. Start planning for subscriptions now. Start planning. Right? They're addictive to company. They're addictive. Think about this. Wacom, I don't know. I'd love to see I'd like to see a graph of how they make money. Like, do they make it the year or two after they release a bunch of products and it stays quiet for a couple of years? Or do they just continuously get profit? I don't know. It's broken up by their different business units, of course. OLED, yes. OLED will be normalized. OLED will be normalized. I think you're right about this one. Oh, here's another one. Having 2 pens will be normal for all Pro tablets. Okay, that's a prediction. What else do we got here? Oh yeah, 2026. A brand other than Wacom will release a pen with barrel rotation. That's gonna happen. I mean, we're just predicting. We can be wrong. It's okay. It's okay to be wrong. Here's another one. We'll check in June. We'll check in to see how right we were. I'm gonna put this one 2027. I don't think it's 2026. Maybe in 2028. Pens will have Find Me feature, like the Apple Pencil Pro. That's a later prediction. Okay. I think it's definitely possible. Yeah, new pen features anything. Will we see new Cintiqs and Cintiq Pros? I don't expect it. I don't predict it. Okay, here's a wild prediction. This is a specific case of another prediction, actually. Wacom will introduce a replacement for the Art Pen. I think that's going to happen. Meaning barrel rotation. It's just a more specific prediction. What else? Okay, I'm gonna make another bold prediction. 2026. Full HD is on its way out. For smaller tablets. Also, if I remember, the Artist 12 Gen 3 has the ability to attach the pens to the tablet. Do you think that's going to be... Is that a prediction? Oh, damn. Cami Luna, you're right. Oh, man. Oh, you're right. You're right. They will require a battery. Oh, man. I don't... I can't see Wacom or anybody introducing a pen that would require a battery. I can't. Okay, well, maybe that's going to be maybe we'll have to revise that prediction. That's a good point, though. I totally didn't think about that. Okay, what else is going to happen this year? I think we will see, I think in 2026, we will see, definitely, we'll see Huion launch Pentec 4.0 pen tablets. I think that's going to happen. Easy prediction. I think XP Pen should release new tablets. I don't know if they're going to. So I'm not right at the place where I can. Maybe other companies will follow the format. Because you possibly don't need a pen stand for it, I think. Maybe. Okay, here's a question / prediction. Affinity relaunched as a free product this year after the Canva purchase. My prediction is it's not going to change how many people use Adobe. Okay. Affinity being free will not. That's Adobe. I don't think it's going to. I know it seems like counterintuitive that I would say this. I know it seems like why wouldn't it? Because on paper it should. And yeah, some people will switch over. I think the power of the Adobe ecosystem will keep people on Adobe much longer than just the cost. I do believe that. Listen, I would love to see someone show me some numbers in June that say, hey, there's a big migration off Adobe. I don't think I'm going to see it. First of all, I don't think Affinity's ready. I tried it. I don't think it's there. Right? I'm not saying it can't be, but I think if you were looking to switch, you'd have a tough time switching. Okay. Let me take a quick look to see if I have any other. What are we looking for? Oh yeah, we got. Sorry. Yeah. It's hard to, the entire ecosystem is so much bigger and more developed with Adobe. And Cami Luna's got a good point she's raising here. Adobe also has more software and cloud storage than Affinity. Yeah. There's just more to Adobe than Illustrator, Photoshop, and InDesign. Right? Affinity doesn't have anything in video. It doesn't have a lot of stuff Adobe has. Look, I want multiple people to succeed. I'm not trying to say Affinity should not succeed. But I'm just saying that in 2026, we're not going to see a big shift over. And I'll be happy to be wrong. I'll be 100% happy to be wrong about this. Okay? 100%. Okay. So, I think 2026 might, notice I say might, be the year Linux is used. Well, it's not going to be the year of Linux on a desktop for artists, right? But I see, that's it. Might be the year Linux will see, I would say noticeably, broader adoption by digital artists. I do believe that. And the reason is Win 11 not adding value. Privacy concerns. Advertisements in OS. I hate that. Yeah, Mick, it's going to take some years to develop, right? So that's why I say this year it's not going to affect. Subsequent years, we're going to have to check in. We will have to check in. At end of year. You know what? Yeah, Procreate on macOS 2026. I agree with you. I think it's going to take longer. On macOS. I think it's going to be one more year. Let's say Procreate on macOS. One more year. Okay. I think it's going to take a couple of years for the younger generation to get into Affinity. Don't get me wrong. Remember, I want more competition. Hopefully, Affinity isn't a big fail, or the team fucked it up knowing Canva is full of script. Yeah. Adobe's domination of the creative space is absolute, right? It is absolute, and it has social impacts. What I mean by that is, if you were to hire someone, I'm going to ask you. I'm not in this position. I have hired designers before and creatives, but that was a very specific case. So let me ask you, who either have maybe looking for a job or have hired people. If someone came to you and said their background, they know how to use Affinity really well, but they've never used Photoshop, or they're not that good at it, would that be a plus, a minus, or a neutral in hiring them? Tell me. I think at best it would be a neutral. At best. Like you'd be indifferent to it. I think a lot of people would find that a negative, because that would be like saying, if you were joining Microsoft, you know what? I've never even bothered to use Microsoft. I've only used Apple. That would be a weird thing, because we would look at that person and say, you want a job here, but you've never bothered even to get into our software. You haven't even tried, which is weird, right? Procreate 2026 iPad update is just going to be new features, only usable for whatever new thing this year's. That's what I'm afraid of, Camilina. That's what I'm afraid of. 100% for Linux. It seems more people are having that conversation. Let me be honest with you. On one of my PCs, I have Zorin OS installed, and there seems to be some kind of Windows compatibility layer. And if I can get Clip Studio Paint working on Zorin, and I can switch from right now when I create my videos, I use Microsoft PowerPoint and Word, but I don't really use them. I use them in very basic ways. If I could switch over to Google Docs, I don't know. I guess I could just live on Linux, right? I don't like the way Windows is advertising to me. I don't like the interaction. Copilot has been let me just say this, Copilot's been a complete wash. It has not added any value to me. And what it does, it's done poorly. The image generation is awful. The live speech recognition is terrible. Maybe other people are having different experiences. I'm having a bad experience. The Copilot subscription is not delivering a lot of value. It is not. So I don't know what the issues are, and I really don't care what the issues are. I'm just paying a lot for it, and I'm not getting a lot of value. So Windows is adding less value, and the things they're adding are adding less value. Maybe they can improve that. Has Windows improved? Yes. The Windows screen clipping thing has improved. Notepad supports Markdown editing. That's amazing. But really, did I need that? Was that a critical thing for me? I don't know. So Procreate, I think it's going to be 2 years at least. Honestly, Affinity would have not much value, but from my perspective and experience, Adobe has more weight. I don't know, Canva, who I guess bought Affinity. I just don't know where they're going with this. Like, it's an uphill battle. It's not like they're adding. It's not like how can I say this? It's not like Affinity adds something really different. It'd be one thing if Affinity was like, we're not only do we work with the same Photoshop files, but we allow you to do image photo editing in a totally new creative way that you've never done. But it doesn't have that. It's just it's just the same stuff, right? The same set of features. You like hiding the taskbar, Ranger Fade? I don't like hiding it. I haven't switched out of MS Office. I have a non-sub version because Google Doc for default different is GDoc, which is something that can't be backed up. Switch between what? Oh, I didn't know that. But you can save, so its native format's GDoc, but you can export to Word, right? DocX or Doc. Is that right? Yeah, I think that's... Okay, next prediction. Oops, 2026, next prediction. Okay, I think Android desktop / Samsung DeX, meaning the desktop features of these operating systems, is going to be huge. What do I mean by that? I've been really happy with my Moving, right? Moving Pad Pro. I have a Samsung S24 Ultra here. Oh, I see, Cami Luna. You have to keep exporting. Yeah, do you want to keep exporting? Yeah, I see it. Yeah, that would be awful. I also noticed Pleasing says when I use my PSD file on Infinity, it gets blurry pixel. I don't know what. I'll check that out. I haven't noticed that, but maybe I wasn't looking closely enough. So we all use computers, but the truth is, my Samsung S24 Ultra phone is pretty powerful. And I think so actually what this should really say is like creating art on mobile devices will become much more mainstream. Right now, look, I prefer using my desktops. One of my desktops has 32, my standard art machine has 32 gigabytes of RAM. My Moving Pad Pro has 12, which I'm not bothered by. And so that made me start thinking, I could see using my phone plugged into something as my creative studio. The software is not there yet. I think, but maybe with DeX or Android desktop, plus some improvements to how they interact with these pen displays, I could see myself plugging in my phone to something and having it work like a desktop. I could see it. Okay, I'm gonna make a future prediction, which is 2020. I think 2020. I'm gonna say 2028. Okay. Non-Wacom brands will finally have a less than 1 gram force IAF I I think that would be my guess. Look, guys, it's just it's a wild prediction. I don't know if it's gonna be right, but I think this is what I'd say. We're gonna see these brands come in with less than 1 gram IF, 1 gram force IF. We don't know. We don't know. But if they do that, that's one of the things Wacom has a tight grip on. Like no one's challenged them yet in that, super low IAF, which is not super important for me, but for some people it is critical. Maybe they'll choose not to, but I think it's their chance. It's their chance. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick bio break. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. My audio disconnected again in my ears. Let me just fix that. The Bluetooth range is not very, not very far for my Mac Studio. Let's see. Let's try that again. Okay, hang on a second. Okay, we're back. Let's see. Mick C. Gobbin says, Procreate Dreams native Mac app. I'm not sure, but this would be a dream come true. I've never tried Procreate Dreams, because it's just animation, right? Let's see. Zalami84 says, I returned to Huion because I couldn't handle the IF So I bought a used Intuos Pro 26. Yeah, if you're one of those people that needs a low IF, you got to get a Wacom Intuos. Anything use a Pro Pen 2 or Pro Pen 3, because these other brands just aren't there yet. They're going to be one day. I do believe it's going to happen, but not there yet. I don't know if I had to put a number to it. I'm just guessing, right? Probably 80% of people could not tell, but probably 20% can. So for them, Wacom really, especially, we have an interesting situation here because Wacom is the oldest brand. So many people are already used to the IF that if they get a non-Wacom, they'll notice the IF change, and that might not be okay for them. Okay, let's see. So I think we have some interesting predictions this year, right? There's one more from Rain. I don't think I actually covered. Oh yeah, Rain was saying if they make a moving 16, it would create issues for Cintiq 16 sales. Okay, so while we're on this topic, let me just say this. Of course, they will totally ignore me. What should Wacom do? Okay, this is like what. Honestly, I'll give you my honest feedback. Wacom should actually. Oh gosh, I'm not gonna put it up because it'll be too confusing, but I'll at least mention it. In the Discord, someone brought up Martin Luther. What do you call him? He was a Catholic priest who helped start the Reformation. But he is famous for like going up to some church and like tacking on, I don't know, some set of theses. But as kind of a joke, I did like, what are those for Wacom, right? And this is going to be reflective of that for Wacom. So here's what Wacom should do. Honestly, number one, actually, let me just find those theses because it's going to be easier for me to show it to you. Oh no, different channel here. Hang on. Martin Luther. Okay. So I did it in an old style font. So we're just going to. So these are the equivalent of what Martin Luther put. Okay. So I'm going to read this to you because I know it can be a little challenging to read. Okay. Number one, these are my demands of Wacom. Okay. So my demands, my 7 pens demands. Number one, resume production of art pens, meaning pens with barrel rotation. Okay. Number two, Wacom must abolish the quote Wacom 1 and 1 by Wacom naming. Terrible naming. Don't find different names. Number three, Wacom, I demand that Wacom must restore the eraser to the Pro Pen 3. They seem to have done that already with this Pro Pen, a new Pro Pen model, which I don't think is being on sale yet. Okay, it looks like it's AF, but it's actually all. Number four, Wacom must make it so that all Pro Pens must work with consumer tablets. Okay, all Pro Pens. If you spent $80 to $130 on a Wacom Professional pen, it must work with a consumer Wacom tablet. Okay? Number five. Also, all consumer pens must work with a professional tablet. Because sometimes you just need a backup. I'm not saying they have to work great, but they have to work. Okay. Number six. This is for Wacom, remember. All Wacom consumer pens must have less than or equal to 3 gram force IAF. You can't have these 5-gram force, 6-gram force, 8-gram force Wacom pens out there. They're just damaging the brand. Okay? They're just damaging them. So these are my 6. Do I have 6? Yeah, 6 demands of Wacom. Okay, let's take a look at Camulus. I don't know. I forgot where in the Wacom support forums it was, but Wacom stated the parts used for barrel rotation are no longer available, but Apple Pencil can do it. Okay, let's try to interpret this in the most fair way possible. The most, what's the right word? Charitable way possible. Number 1, that is, yeah, I could believe that there is a part shortage. Like just in the abstract, sure. There was a chip shortage a few years ago. Okay, so that's plausible. Now, number 2, it is fair to say that the Apple Pencil seems to do barrel rotation in a different way. Because it is not an EMR pen. So we think it uses different ways of figuring out the rotation. Okay, so that is plausible. Like, meaning it's a different technique than Wacom. However, it's hard to see that the Wacom Art Pen uses parts that cannot be found. Let me give you an example, just so you're totally clear on this. Let me go to my Gitbook site. And I think I have barrel rotation here. I think it has also, it's Salami, I think it has some sort of transmitters or something. It's just a different way. Barrel rotation. Hang on. I'm going to show you a photo. I do want to show it to you because like it'll help reveal, there's some element of truth, but to what Wacom is saying. But I don't know if I'd say that's exactly capturing what I think is accurate. So just give me a second. Wacom. I think it's the... Hang on. Is this it? Give me a second. But yeah, Zalami, I think you're right. It is a different technology. So it's a little bit apples to oranges. We can't directly compare them. Okay, this should be it. But that's not exactly what I was going for here. Give me a second. Okay, so just so we know, this is the ZP Wacom Art Pen, which has barrel rotation. Okay, it's a weirdly shaped pen. That wasn't my intention. The only reason I had to pick this is it's the only one we have a picture for, which shows you something interesting. Okay, this is what the pen looks like disassembled. Okay, what do you notice? It looks like... Okay, let me just tell you what's in this picture. This part to me looks normal, or normal meaning it doesn't use any weird parts. This part looks normal, meaning it doesn't use any weird parts. This white piece looks normal, doesn't use any weird parts. These wires are just wires. They don't use any weird parts. These wires go here. They're looping around these two things. We'll talk about that in a second. Those are just wires. Those aren't special. Then we have these two, it looks like ferrite cores, right? Looks like a vape stick. Normally a pen will have one of these. This has two, okay? Technically how they work, I don't know. Why they needed two, I don't know. Why does the art pen have a different shape than this marker art pen? Don't know. But at least this is our first evidence. I don't want to break apart one of my art pens to figure out what it has. It tells me it's possible to do barrel rotation. I mean, what I see with my eyes is standard looking parts. Does one of you here see something special here? I don't see anything special here. Could it be that something's hidden in here that we can't see? Maybe. But it doesn't seem like that, does it? It doesn't seem like it. So, the result being, I don't think it's a parts issue. Or at least, to be more fair to Wacom, it is not entirely clear why it's a parts issue. It isn't. It isn't at all. So we're left with a little bit of a mystery. Why can't they do it? Or is it that they don't want to do it because the pens are more expensive to make and they'd lose money if they made it? I don't know how you could lose money on it because they charge you $130 for the Pro Pen 3, right? It's a lot of money. So again, this picture was I don't know if Cube took it, but he gave it to me. He shared it several times, and I just wanted to show you this because this is an example of like there's nothing going on here weird. There could be. Like I'm just not knowledgeable enough of electronics. Maybe one of these chips is like super rare. I don't know. And maybe these wires are made of some special metal that only appears in like meteorites or something. I don't. I'm joking, but like you get my point. Nothing here looks special, right? So I think it's crazy if it's the parts aren't no longer available. I could see that certain chips aren't, Camulina, right? But these don't look like specialized chips, do they? I mean, I don't know. So I just wanted to share that as an example. So yeah, what should Wacom do? I think this summarizes a space pen. Yeah, I would exactly. I would. I think got to simplify their line. And nothing that I've written here is crazy. I think this is all like realistic stuff they can do. They just need to choose to do, and we'd have a much better experience, right? If I wanted to even add to this, I would just say Wacom should go all in on touch, right? On haptics, on what's the other thing? Touch, haptics, and barrel rotation. Yeah. I think these are things they should pursue, right? I think they should. I don't know. Here's an idea, right? They should like maybe all pen tablets, since we're paying $3,000 for some of them. Maybe all pen tablets, pen displays, I mean, should be also Android devices. I'm not looking, by the way, just to make it may seem unusual what I'm saying here. I'm not saying that your Cintiq Pro 27 is an Android device that you should like be happy carrying around with you, all like 30 to 40 pounds of it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I want you to imagine a world where you can create your art without having to have a laptop connected or a PC connected or something. Like it just works as a device, right? And yeah, you can have something connected and it works even better with the computer, but like it works just by itself, right? In other words, all pen displays should become standalone tablets. I think that's not unreasonable when you're charging $3,000 for, a 22-inch tablet. Does that make sense? But yeah, this is what I'd like to see. This is absolutely what I'd like to see. Okay, I think I've covered everything, everyone. I'm going to end the stream shortly, but I just want to leave with a few comments. First of all, it's the first day of 2026, and This year has been a great year for me for many reasons. And I see so many friends in the audience, Cami, Luna, Zalami. We have Ranger Fade, and so many others that are here and in the Discord. What I want to say is thank you, because I started streaming in December of last year, 2024, the previous year, and I didn't think I'd like it. I was very embarrassed to put my face out there. And what actually has turned out is I do more streaming than anything, right? I actually make more streams than videos these days, which I need to do. I do need to make more videos. Nizia, Martin, we're just about to end the stream, but you're joining us. But you're included in this thanks. What I was just thanking everyone for this past year, right? What you've done as an audience for me has made this experience very special. And I mean that absolutely at the bottom of my heart. It opened me up in ways. It made me, I'm always confident on camera, but it just made me, if you watch my older streams, I think you'll notice I'm better on camera. I'm a little more controlled. I know sort of how to manage this process. So those were just like practical benefits. I really never thought I'd have such a fun, engaging relationship with the community, right? The fact that people actually show up to see me talk, and I go on for 2 or 3 hours. That's kind of amazing. And we just have to keep our sights on the goal, right? Which is we want to make sure we have a place where if you're a creative or someone just note-taking, we have a shared passion around using technology to create things. That's really what my channel is about. My channel is not about drawing tablets. It's really about helping people use technology to create in a visual sense, okay? And I'll do more of that this year. I'll talk a little bit more broadly this year. But without you, this channel would be nothing. Without you, I wouldn't be able to enjoy doing what I do. I wouldn't be motivated. Because trust me, it's a lot of hard work of making these videos and researching and measuring the IEF. It's not necessarily the most fun thing. But I know you're all very curious about it and you're engaged in finding out these answers. And the thing we have a chance to do as a community is change the game, okay? Because we have data to back us up, we are collecting our voice together, and I think, honestly, we can put pressure on brands enterprise companies that make software and hardware to give us what we want, which are better tablets and a better experience around drawing. Okay, Martin, thank you so much. What a kind comment, and thank you, Cami Luna. We'll give a heart out to Cami Luna as well. One of my favorite people on stream. Everyone, this is going to be a great year for all of you. Stay strong, and you have my best wishes for all of you to have a healthy and prosperous 2026. And I'm glad you chose this first day of 2026 to spend a little bit of time with me. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day and night.